We'll start with the invocation prayers. Om Akyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So from today we will start Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, and chapters 7 to 12 are the heart of Bhagavad Gita. The purports are also little longer compared to earlier, and our classes will become heavier than what they have been so far. We will also cover chapter 6 verses 46 and 47. We left them for a reason to discuss together with 7.1. But before we continue, I have very important quick announcements for which all of you will be responding to me. So for upcoming practical discussion in chapter 7, I need a unique city of your origin or where you have visited. So send me a message, where are you from, or any unique place you have visited. I mean, if you are in a common place like big cities like in India or in Nepal, big places, you don't need to send me that. I'm looking for a unique place, and you will realize why I'm asking this. So if you are from some big city, it's possible you might have visited some other place. Then send me the other place where you visited. My intent is to find a unique place from among all of you so that our upcoming discussion in chapter 7 becomes very, very interesting. Everybody can do that, please.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Very good. The next, many of you join the Zoom call with your default device name, either iPhone, iPad, and whatever. I request all of you, I don't want to name your names, I know who you are. When you click the Zoom join link, or you join through the meeting ID, at step number 2, there is a spot for you to change the name. It's only one time change that you have to do, and then next time onwards, it will always appear as your name. So by default, whatever is your device name, it comes up by default at step number 2. So next time I want all of you, it's only 2 or 3 of you who join with iPad or iPhone as your default name. So I want you to change that to your name, because many unauthorized individuals try to join Zoom call and then they end up messing up our Zoom call. This has happened very frequently. And even now, there are so many individuals, unauthorized individuals try to join. So I cannot distinguish if you just put iPhone or iPad. I cannot distinguish who you are. So next time, if you join with iPad or iPhone as your name, I will not let you in. So if you don't know how to change it, connect with me offline and I will let you know it. Basically, it's at step number 2 when you click the Zoom link or the meeting ID. At step number 2, your iPad or iPhone shows up as the default name. Change your name so that go forward, it will always appear as your name. But next time onwards, if you sign up as iPhone or iPad, I will not let you in the Zoom call because there are so many individuals who try to join and hack the Zoom call, and I can't take that risk. Okay, next. At the end of class today, you all are going to get a mandatory spiritual endeavor for which you all will be sending a response to me directly. I won't set up the Google link and you will realize why. You will be responding to me directly. The next announcement is for next Sunday, which is 11th of May at batch 5, 9:30 a.m. Toronto time, is offenses to avoid class. All of you should aim to attend. Many of you have already attended this class, but you should attend again because majority of your spiritual advancement will happen by not doing offenses. And one time attending the offenses to avoid class doesn't register. So even if you have attended, all of you should attend the offenses to avoid class as an additional class to the Saturday Bhagavad Gita class. And some of you, I will name names right now, some of you who are in the catch-up sessions who have not heard this offenses to avoid class, you should definitely attend this class. So I will name names right now. I'm sure I'll miss some names and some might have attended from the catch-up session. So Annapurni, then Chandar, Deepa Singh, I think she might have attended earlier or heard the recording. Then Manish Bhatia, Monica, Mohit, Pratyush father, Parth, Rashi, I don't know if she's joined, and Janisha. So all these names that I gave, you definitely have not attended. You should definitely attend the offenses to avoid class. Or if you cannot attend on Sunday, then by all means, you can listen to recording. That's also an option.
Sure, Prabhuji.
So on the WhatsApp group, I will send messages for both the sessions and you can join. Now, some of you on the catch-up session, you are unable to play Zoom recordings on your phone because we have discussed that there was an inherent glitch in the Zoom system, which Zoom company cannot fix. Now, Malti has tried to use some offline website where you can convert this Zoom recordings. So you can connect with Malti offline or you can let me know and I will let you know Malti's contact. So those of you who are not able to play the Zoom recordings, you cannot fix. You have to play it on a computer. That's your only solution because there was an inherent glitch. So if you don't have alternative means, you can try to convert it from this free available web link and go from there. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So we will now start with chapter 6, verses 46 and 47. And this is section 5 of chapter 6, verses 46 and 47. Title is The Topmost Yogi Fixes Mind on Krishna. So we have discussed at our yoga ladder that there are various processes that one can follow, or various paths one can follow. So after going through the detailed analysis of the various processes, in verses 46 and 47 of chapter 6, Krishna comes to the conclusion that Bhakti Yoga is the best and the highest path. And this will set the scene for Krishna to start speaking chapters 7 onwards, which are directly on Bhakti Yoga. Chapters 7 to 12 are directly focused on Bhakti Yoga. Now, entire Bhagavad Gita is about Bhakti Yoga, but understand that the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, there are other topics also described. So let's read verse number 46 translation. Abhishek Prabhu, 46 translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. 6.46. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi.
So, person who performs austerities, better than him is the person who does yoga. And greater than Jnani is yogi. And greater than Karmi is yogi. Hence, become a yogi. In chapter 6, Krishna is strongly saying to do yoga. Now, yoga primarily focuses on connection with the absolute truth. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains what are the problems with other processes. Annapurni, 6.46 purport, faster pace.
And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me with
No, 46 purport.
Oh, sorry. When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it's called karma yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called jnana yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it's better than bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is a full spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga, and this is still more clearly explained in the next verse. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So the purport is short and bang to the point and very heavy, that asceticism means tapasya without self-knowledge is imperfect. without remembrance of Krishna, fasting is simply an exercise for fat removal. Empiric knowledge without surrender to Supreme Lord is also imperfect. Now this refers to Jnani, because generally Jnana leads to the conception that I am God. Therefore, this is imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is waste of time, is shrama eva hi kevalam. And Srila Prabhupada is strong in this statement compared to above. He says from Srimad Bhagavatam, he uses shama eva hi kevalam, that waste of time. So generally we do labor for fruit, and if there is no fruit, then it is useless. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying that fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is shrama eva hi kevalam, waste of time. Everybody with me? Somnima?
Krishna Prabhuji,
Yes,
isn't
Prabhuji.
fruitive work at all time a waste of time?
Somnima, repeat.
Isn't fruitive work at all time waste of time?
Yeah, so Prabhupada says, if you read closely, Prabhupada says, fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is waste of time. So if you dovetail your day-to-day activities in remembering Krishna, I have given you so many practical ways to remember Krishna 24 hours while doing your work and study or whatever, then it's not a waste of time. But if somebody is simply focused on living a karmic life to earn money, sleep at night, and enjoy, that's a waste of time. That is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. Somnima?
Yes, Prabhuji, but I was just curious, when it says fruitive work, can it be also combined with Krishna consciousness?
Yeah. So until you become pure devotee, there will be overlap that at certain times you may be only doing fruitive work. At certain times you may be, say on the weekend, you will only do devotional service. And other times there'll be a mix where you are dovetailing some of your fruitive work, some not. So this back and forth will continue till you become steady, and you will soon then come to Nishkam Karma Yoga, where you will be largely focused on spirituality. So it's a process that you go to. So far, it's like a pendulum. You're going back and forth.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
All right. So 6.47 is obviously a key memorization verse. I will recite 6.47, the Sanskrit lines, and then you can recite one line after me in Sanskrit. So let me first recite 6.47, the whole verse. 6.47. Yoginam api sarvesham matkatenantaratmanah shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamamata. Everybody unmute and recite one line after me, please. Yoginam api sarvesham
योगिनामपि
सर्वेषां
matkatenantaratmanah
मद्गते
अन्तरात्मना
shraddhavan bhajate yomam
श्रद्धां भजते यो मां
मां
same yukta tamamata. Very good. Diksha, translation.
Hare Krishna. And of all the yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
So Krishna is not giving a blanket endorsement for any yoga path. Krishna is clearly implying by yoga, we have to look at 6.47. Now, some will only quote the previous 6.46 verse, and they will say, well, Krishna is saying to do yoga in Bhagavad Gita, so you can do any yoga. No, you cannot do any yoga. No, it doesn't give you the same results. We have discussed the results on our yoga ladder. In 6.47, Krishna is clearly recommending bhakti yoga. Remembrance of Krishna is bhakti yoga. So if somebody is only quoting 6.46 is an example of quoting Bhagavad Gita verses out of context. So Krishna is not recommending yoga as a process for bodily needs or bodily fitness. No. Krishna is using yoga as a means for connection with the personal absolute truth. And Srila Prabhupada would quote 6.47 quite often saying, yoga should culminate in bhakti. Yoga should culminate in Bhagwan. Now 6.47 has the words yukta tama in the fourth line. So just as in the English language, you have good, better, best, and best is highest. Similarly in Sanskrit, yukta means good. Yukta tara means better. And yukta tama means the best. So we discussed at our yoga ladder classes that all yoga paths are meant to culminate in bhakti yoga. Whatever yoga process you are following, either karma kanda or karma yoga or gyan yoga or ashtanga yoga or bhakti yoga itself, doesn't matter. You have to come to bhakti yoga and Bhagwan. These other yoga paths can take one to a particular destination. We discussed at great length in terms of destination of the various paths. Now, these other yoga paths, such as Ashtanga Yoga or Gyan Yoga, can also help one to reach to higher destination if one adds bhakti to their path. So we have discussed all this at our yoga ladder discussion. Now, question will come up that why is bhakti yoga the most complete yoga? And you will remember from our yoga ladder discussion that bhakti yoga includes the action and detachment of karma yoga, plus includes knowledge of jnana yoga, plus includes meditation of ashtanga yoga, plus of course one adds love and devotion. Therefore, bhakti yoga is the most complete yoga. And plus the other factor that your subtle body, mind, intelligence generally follow your heart. And if our heart wants to do something, if heart is involved, then everything else follows. Because bhakti yoga activates our heart, because we connect with our heart with Krishna. That's why bhakti yoga is the topmost of all yoga. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations? Okay, we'll read purport. Megha will read in 6.47 purport, paragraph number 4, which starts, it is with great fortune.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Sayam Sundara, who is Shyam Sundara, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effluent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded. Illuminating all sides is his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Narsimha, Vara, and Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full with the opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by bhakti yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhaktir asya bhajanam tat imhatu pradhi narasena musim manha kalpanam etad eva nisa karmayam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Niskarmya. These are some of the means for performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system.
So this is the highest perfection in yoga that can be attained only by bhakti yoga, that one is able to perform devotional service and always remember Krishna. So Krishna has very categorically stated that connecting with him is the highest truth. Krishna has talked about himself in the first 6 chapters in few verses. I will name some of these verses, which are 2.61, 3.9, 3.30, 4.9, 4.10, 4.34, 4.35, 5.29. But Krishna has not talked about him as emphatically as in 6.47. He says, Yoginam api sarvesham. The best yogi is who? Matkate nantaratmana, one who remembers me always. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, one who does devotional service with Shraddha. Same yukta tamamata. He is the best. Thus we have completed chapter 6. Any questions, comments, realizations? Parth Prabhu, you had unmuted multiple times. You had some question.
Yes, sir. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hello.
Prabhu, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. No, right now I do not have any question.
All right. Okay. So we'll now start chapter 7. Have undivided attention. This is base setting and very important discussion. So Bhagavad Gita is divided into sections. I mean, the full Bhagavad Gita talks about bhakti, but chapters 1 to 6 are talking about how from karma one can rise to the level of bhakti. So chapters 1 to 6 are largely focused on karma. Chapters 7 to 12 are on bhakti. These chapters 7 to 12 focus directly on bhakti. And chapters 13 to 18 are on jnana. They talk about that from jnana, how one can rise to the level of bhakti. So I had given you the essence of first 6 chapters in one simple statement. Towards the end of our yoga ladder discussion, I had given you the essence in one simple statement that with mind and sense control, realize 5.29 in truth, do activity in the material world according to 5.11 for purification only, not for sense enjoyment, so that you can come to 6.47, that you become the best of the yogi. And today, I will show you a visual for the first 6 chapters in 6 steps. Basically, what I'm about to show you is essentially what we have discussed in the first 6 chapters. Yes, there are a lot of details, but essentially, my slide in 6 steps is what we have discussed. So let's see what we have discussed. So action, meaning karma yoga, or renunciation, meaning jnana yoga, were Arjuna's options. Krishna combined action and renunciation as the third choice. And it was not just renunciation in action, rather it is devotion in action. So akarma. Arjuna's spotlight was on the body, therefore Arjuna was bound and miserable. Krishna moved the spotlight to the soul, and soul can be liberated by doing Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then Krishna moves the spotlight to Paramatma, and then Krishna goes on to say, by the way, that Paramatma is Krishna himself. From 6.47 onwards, the spotlight is on Mam. Mam means Krishna. So take a snapshot of what you have on screen is essentially what has happened in the first 6 chapters. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations? So recognize that I gave you the essence of first 6 chapters in one simple statement. And I also gave you essentially the first 6 chapters in what you have on the slide in few steps in one slide. But recognize that instead of Krishna giving just these Bhagavad Gita chapters 1 to 6 essence in one statement, or giving few simple steps what we have on the screen on this one slide, rather Krishna started instructions from Arjuna's low bodily attachment level and brought Arjuna up in a step-by-step process. So I might have jumbled the words, so I will repeat the statement. So instead of Krishna giving the essence of first 6 chapters in one statement, or giving the few simple steps for the first 6 chapters what we have on the screen on the slide, Krishna started instructions from Arjuna's low bodily level attachment and brought Arjuna up in a step-by-step process. That first Krishna explained Karma Kanda, which was largely at bodily level. Then Krishna explained Nishkam Karma Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga. From chapter 7, a new mood develops in Bhagavad Gita. You will literally feel as if you are reading a completely different book. Up to now, the mood has been of detachment. From chapter 7 onwards, rather from 6.47 onwards, the mood in Bhagavad Gita changes to attachment and to devotion to Krishna. The first 6 chapters are setting the scene for the heart of Bhagavad Gita, chapters 7 to 12. Chapters 7 to 12 are talking directly about bhakti. These chapters 7 to 12 will put the spotlight on Krishna. Till now, the focus was renunciation in action. And now, the focus will change to devotion in action, and with more details about this. One performs action with devotional intention and not just renunciation of action. Now, spiritual advancement is not judged by how much one is disconnected from the world. Rather, spiritual advancement is judged by how much one is connected with Krishna. Chapter 7 onwards talks about and shifts the spotlight on the knowledge about Krishna. So chapter 7 is specifically on the knowledge about Krishna. Therefore, chapter 7 is titled Knowledge of the Absolute. And chapter 7 in Sanskrit is known as Vigyan Yoga. The connection between chapter 6 and 7 is that Krishna has said that such a yogi lives with me, meaning the highest yogi lives with me. Such a yogi is always liberated. Krishna has said this in chapter 6, verse number 31. Krishna has also talked about liberation, fixing the mind on Krishna. Now, Krishna will give another process to achieve the same goal of liberation and fixing the mind on Krishna. I have undivided attention for this point, that one can go through the laborious process of various yoga paths, either be karma kanda or karma yoga, not at the highest level, but normal karma yoga or jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga. And one can come to 6.47 to fix your mind on Krishna. But one does not have to go through these laborious processes. Say for example, in jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga is like going to forest and renouncing everything. So this is one way one can reach to fixing mind on Krishna. We discussed at our yoga ladder that one can go through all these yoga paths. He had so many yoga paths, and one can try to fix the mind on Krishna. Now from 7.1 onwards, Krishna will give an alternative path. So one path is all these yoga ladder paths that we discussed of either karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and the mix of all of this. That is one alternative to come to 6.47 of fixing mind on Krishna. And from 7.1 is another alternative of fixing mind on Krishna. So it's not just renunciation in action, rather it is devotion in action. And this becomes, the devotion in action becomes the alternative path, which is the bhakti yoga path, to fix the mind on Krishna. So in chapters 1 to 6, Krishna has explained karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, to come to 6.47, which is mat katen antaratmanaha, the second line, 6.47, that is fixing mind on Krishna. And in chapter 7, Krishna will briefly describe bhakti yoga, briefly. And then in chapter 8, Krishna will do a comparison. By comparison of the various yoga paths and bhakti yoga, Krishna will come to the conclusion in 8.14 that Bhakti Yoga is the easier path, is the easier process among the various yoga paths to fix mind on Krishna. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations? So there's a question posted in the chat. What is the difference between Jnana and Vijnana? So we did discuss this in 6.8. Jnana means knowledge. We also discussed this on Yoga Letter class, that what's the difference between knowledge and realized knowledge. So Jnana means knowledge and Vijnana means realized knowledge. So realization means when we accept something as real, what is already existing. An example to understand this is, material world is a place of misery, but I have not realized it. I think it is a place for my enjoyment. But when I realize, when I read 8.16, Krishna says material world is a place of misery. When I get miseries in life, when I realize and accept this reality, that's when this knowledge becomes vijnana, it becomes realized. Does that answer the question?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations? All right. I will give you chapter 7 overview, means the section breakdown. I request all of you, if you are taking notes on a physical page, I request you to take the chapter 7 section division on a separate page and flag it with a post-it note. Or if you are taking notes virtually, bookmark this page because we'll be using this later on in our Bhagavad Gita. So chapter 7 is titled Knowledge of the Absolute. In Sanskrit is Vijnana Yoga. Is divided in 3 sections and there are subsections within sections. Section 1 is verses 1 to 12. Title is Know Krishna in Full. Verses 1 to 3 talk about the glory of knowledge about Krishna. Verses 4 to 7 explains Krishna is the source of everything, material and spiritual. Verses 8 to 12 explains Krishna pervades everything. Section 2 is verses 13 to 25. Title is Surrender to Krishna. So this explains that the knowledge that you gain from section 1 verses, how that knowledge of Krishna leads to surrender. So subsections in this is verses 13 and 14 explain why to surrender. Verse number 15 explains those who do not surrender. Verses 16 to 19 explains those who do surrender. And verses 20 to 25 explains those who surrender to something other than Krishna, essentially demigods. And section 3 is verses 26 to 30 Title is How the Soul Gets Liberated by Knowledge about Krishna. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question regarding these 2 points, that those who don't surrender and those who surrender something other than Krishna. So my question is, those who don't surrender are always surrendering something else. So what's the difference between these two?
Yeah, we'll discuss at great length when we reach those verses. You'll
Okay, bro.
realize. All right. I have a question for everyone. Everyone will answer or pick a guess. I'm basically asking you to guess. Unless if you know, you can give the exact. So, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita lectures. Srila Prabhupada has about 400 Bhagavad Gita lectures. Then about, I would say, 800 to 900 Srimad Bhagavatam lectures. In total, for other scriptures also, say, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitra Chatamita, etc. Shesh Upanishad. In total, Prabhupada has about 1500 lectures. My question for all of you, pick a number. How many lectures do you think or you know that Srila Prabhupada gave on this one verse 7.1? Everybody, pick a guess, or if you know, give me the number.
Something around 20, Prabhuji.
All right. Umnima says 2. Rest of you, quickly.
Maybe 10.
Okay, 10, 12, 5, 70. Okay. Rest of you, 7. Those who didn't answer, pick a guess. I'm asking you to guess. 25, 50. All right. That's 75. One verse. I'm saying one verse of Bhagavad Gita. How many lectures do you think Srila Prabhupada has given?
100.
All right. So Bhagavad Gita total has 400 lectures. You are saying 100 on one verse? Okay. Some of you have 180. One verse, you're saying 100? All right. So let me answer. Srila Prabhupada gave maximum number of classes on this one verse 7.1. There are 40 plus lectures on 7.1, and there are 5 plus lectures on 7.1 combined with other verses. Now these 40, 45 plus lectures, these are in English lectures, in English language, on the same 7.1 verse, are all different lectures. It's not that Prabhupada is talking about the same lecture 40 plus times. No, they are all different lectures. And potentially, there are many more lectures in different languages for this 7.1 verse. So the next closest is about 8 or 10 lectures on 2 specific Srimad Bhagavatam verses. So you can judge from the volume of lecture Srila Prabhupada has given on one verse that how important this one verse is. From these 45 plus lectures on 7.1, we will listen to many of these lectures. Each of them are spectacular lectures. 7.1 verse is the basis of entire Krishna consciousness. Now, although 7.1 verse is not a key memorization verse, but obviously from the discussion and obviously from the volume of lectures, you can judge it's a pretty important verse, as well as it's a very beautiful verse to recite in Sanskrit as well. Would you all like to recite 7.1 Sanskrit? One line after me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Only Malti.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Correct.
Yes.
So I will first recite the whole 7.1, and then you all can unmute and recite one line after me. First I will recite 7.1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayyasakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjan Madashaya Asamsayam Samagram Mam Yata Jnanasi Tachunu. Everybody unmute and recite one line after me, please. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan
Vacha
Mayyasakta Manapartha
Maya
Sakta
Satmana
Yogam Yunjan Madashaya
Yogam
Yujanma
Yudashaya
Shreyaha
Asamsayam Samagram Mam
Samshayam
Samagramam
Samagamam
Yata Jnanasi Tachunu. Matan Prabhu, translation please.
Sorry, I'm not in the position now.
All right. Paulomi, translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt."
So this verse is a direct call for hearing. The verse 7.1 ends with Tachrunu. Tachrunu means hearing. So we keep saying and we keep hearing from everyone that we should keep hearing. And from day one, I have been giving you Prabhupada lectures to listen to. This is the reason for it. Hearing. This is a direct call for hearing. By hearing, one will advance on the path of spirituality. So hearing tells us the path, that by hearing, one will come to know how I will make spiritual advancements, how I will move closer to Krishna. Plus, hearing is itself also the path. Why? Because hearing itself increases our attraction towards Krishna. So hearing is one of the limbs of bhakti. We have discussed this multiple times from Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23 as given by Prahlad Maharaj, the 9 devotional processes. And it starts with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. So it's all that 7.5.23 verse also starts with Shravanam, hearing. And Srila Prabhupada would often say that everything begins with hearing. Therefore, hearing shows us the path and hearing is the path. Now, hearing is not the only path. There are 9 limbs of devotional service described in 7.5.23. It is just that hearing is the most important limb. So here Krishna is saying, hear about how all this will happen. He says, Tachrunu. Hear how you will come to know me. You will become free from doubt then. Your mind will get attached to me. Means all this is hearing by which we know the path. So 6.47, the second line, it says, Mat katen antaratmanaha. the translation is abiding in me is always thinking of me within himself. And then 6.47, third line says, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, that in full faith he renders devotional service unto me. So you can reach the goal, which is 6.47, the second and third line, which is Matkaten Antaratmana, to always think of Krishna, or Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, to do devotional service. You can reach 6.47, second and third line, via the processes we have discussed in the first 6 chapters of either Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga. All these were detachment, that you are trying to detach, don't do this, don't do this. You're with the goal to come to Mat Katen Antaratmana, to fix your mind on Krishna. And now, 7.1 onwards, Krishna is describing an alternative process to reach the same goal of fixing mind on Krishna. So 6.47, second line, Mat Katen Antaratmana, is identical to 7.1, first line, Maya Sakta Manapata. Both are identical, that you fix your mind on Krishna. Meaning, either one can go through the various laborious processes of Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, described in the first 6 chapters, to come to 6.47, second line, Mat Katen Antaratmana, to fix your mind on Krishna. Or alternative path is, one can follow the Bhakti Yoga process to come to 7.1, Maya Sakta Manapatha. So if you ignore the verse references, 6.47 and 7.1, essentially the key point in both these verses is to fix mind on Krishna, either via the difficult, laborious processes described in the first 6 chapters of Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, or the alternative, the easier process of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is like the express elevator path that we discussed on the yoga ladder discussion. Other yoga paths are like the staircase. So from chapter 7 onwards, Krishna will explain this elevator path in more detail. So the goal that is glorified in 6.47, second and third line, Mat Katen Antaratmana, Shraddhavan bhajate yoma, meaning thinking of the Lord within one's heart all the time and faithfully serving the Lord. All that was centered around detachment. And now from chapter 7 onwards, it's more about attachment to Krishna. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations? I still have a lot of talking to do on 7.1. All right. So we will understand 7.1 verse from bottom up. That how hearing can lead to Maya Sakta Manapartha. Means how hearing can get you to fix your mind on Krishna. So step number 1 is Shrunu, hearing. By hearing, what will happen? That if we keep hearing regularly, step number 2 will happen. Step number 2 is Jnanasyasi Samagram, that you will know Krishna properly and completely. Once we know Krishna properly, then step number 3 will happen. Step number 3 is Asamshayam, that we will become free from doubt, more our knowledge increases, more the doubts decrease and we get purified. Then step number 4 happens, which is ashraya, that we take shelter of Krishna. Then we understand that Krishna is Suhadram Sarva Bhutanam from Bhagavad Gita 5.29, that Krishna is my greatest well-wisher. Krishna is the ultimate object of my love. Hence, naturally, I will take shelter of him. So, shelter of Krishna is not abstract, but is practical action. Therefore, step number 5 will happen. Yogam Yunjan means practice devotional service. And by practicing devotional service, step number 6 happens, which is Maya Sakta Mana. That mind will become attached to Krishna. So through these 6 stages, one will attain perfection of fixing mind on Krishna. Everybody with me? So our goal is Mai Asakta Mana, that when we hear about Krishna, then what happens is we get samagram, that our doubts are cleared completely. So the more we hear about Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the philosophy, all these deepen our understanding and our jnana increases. Getting the mind attached to Krishna is the perfection of our spiritual life. When the mind is attached to Krishna, it will not be distracted to anything else. Thus, we will attain peace and joy because Krishna is supremely joyful. So as we have discussed in 7.1, that hearing is the Krishna conscious process. Therefore, I have been giving you Srila Prabhupada lectures from day 1, and I have emphasized again and again to listen to the Srila Prabhupada lectures. So whether or not you have been following so far, at least from a go-forward basis, after every class, the Srila Prabhupada lectures that I post, you should listen to them diligently. I am not giving you random lectures. Prabhupada has 400 plus lectures. I'm not giving you random, I'm giving you very specific lectures to what we discuss in class. So very important that at least on a go-forward basis, you should all listen to Srila Prabhupada lectures as soon as possible and as often as possible. One time listening to Prabhupada lectures, everything does not register. You have to listen to them multiple times for them to register. And if you have been listening to Prabhupada lectures from the beginning, that's very good. Just continue. Questions, comments, realizations? Now, in the purport for 7.1, right in the middle, there are a lot of Sanskrit verses. These Sanskrit verses are from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. So these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam describe in a step-by-step process how the heart becomes purified. Now these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, which start from 1.2.16 up to 1.2.17, 22. These are the most quoted verses of Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada. The process of how Shrunu, meaning hearing, leads to Maya Asakta Mana, how this happens is described in these Srimad Bhagavatam verses in a step-by-step process. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada has included these verses in 7.1 purport. Now, if any one of you follow my spiritual masters, any lectures, my spiritual master's invocation prayers, my spiritual master, His Grace Vaisheshwadas Adhikari, his invocation prayers are very long, and he also recites Srimad Bhagavatam verses, Bhagavad Gita verses, and Chaitanya Charitamrita verses in the invocation prayers. The Srimad Bhagavatam verses that my spiritual master recites in the invocation prayers are these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.16 onwards. So you can imagine this 7.1 is such an important verse, as well as 1.2.16 onwards verses are directly explaining 7.1 in practice. Very soon, you will all be joining a Srimad Bhagavatam overview classes starting in a new batch, where I will discuss this one-on-one link connection between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam very, very soon. Everybody with me, we'll soon read these Srimad Bhagavatam verses. All right. So I will bring up these verses on screen, and we will read one by one, and then we will also summarize. So we have 1.2.17 on screen, Srimad Bhagavatam. Janisha, can you please read the translation from the screen?
Okay. Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Super Soul, in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for the material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
So again, it says that when you hear his messages, which are themselves virtuous, then you get purified. And I will summarize. So first we'll read these verses, and then I will summarize, and then I have a question for you all coming up. Okay, let's read 1.2.18. Kamana from the screen. Kamana.
Yes, Prabhuji. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
All right. So again, this hearing comes that when you hear, the anarthas get destroyed in our heart by hearing and by serving the Bhagavatas. All right, let's read Deepa, 1.2.19 translation from screen.
As soon as irrevocable love and service established in the heart, the effects of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy.
So by practice of bhakti, the lower modes of passion and ignorance go away, and we are situated in goodness. All right, let's see. Padma Kumar Prabhu from the screen, 1.2.20. Samma.
1.2.20 Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service of the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association.
So, by practice of devotional service with pleasant mind, we become liberated from all kinds of contamination. Okay, Pratyush Prabhu, 21 from the screen.
Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master.
So these are very heavy verses. And the Bhagavatam class on all these verses is also very heavy discussion. I'm only very briefly describing and we are only reading. We haven't even touched the surface. So 21 says that when you practice all the previous steps in the verses that we read, then all attachments in the heart get cut off when enlivened by Krishna's knowledge. Then we do not do any activity apart from Krishna. So as we discussed the steps for 7.1 from bottom up, that how Shrunu hearing leads to Maya Asakta Manapartha. Similarly, these Srimad Bhagavatam verses I will summarize just in brief. It's a very heavy discussion. I'm only briefly summarizing here. So 1.2.17 says that by hearing, we get purified, plus the Lord gets situated in the heart and cleanses us from within. 1.2.18 says, most of the anarthas are destroyed by serving both Bhagavatas, the Srimad Bhagavatam book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavata, pure devotees, spiritual masters. 1.2.19 says, by practice of bhakti, lower modes of passion and ignorance go away, and we are then situated in the mode of goodness. 1.2.20 describes the practice of devotional service with pleasant mind. We become liberated from all kinds of contamination. And then 21 describes that all attachments in the heart get cut off when we are enlivened by Krishna's knowledge. Then we do not do any activity apart from Krishna. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. I have a question for you all. You all will answer. So, we have already established from Bhagavad Gita introduction that we have imperfect senses, which includes our hearing sense also. So isn't this contradictory here, that how come hearing is going to help me if I already have imperfect senses? Everybody please answer. Is that eye-opener? Anybody wants to know the answer?
Yes, Prabhuji, want to know the answer.
I want to know.
The rest of you?
Yes, Prabhu, I want to know.
I would want to know, Prabhu.
I want to know, Prabhu.
Annapurni?
Prabhuji, it's just my guess. I've definitely learned to hear from you, but I think, hearing is more important because even in this day and age, we are able to connect with Krishna by hearing about him, hearing the Bhagavad Gita and all the scriptures. And although people who lived with Krishna did not even realize that he was God himself, for example, Kans, and they did not know that it was God himself who has come.
Yeah, but I have imperfect senses. We have already established that.
I don't know, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Balti, Samma,
Hare
something.
Krishna, Prabhu. There is a one verse, I don't remember what was the verse, but by doing devotional service, Krishna will give you the understanding of everything. So
Yeah,
maybe
it's
that link with this.
Yeah, it's what Malti is referring is 10.10, Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Yeah. Okay, now that's a different story. Samma?
I think even if our like senses are flawed, if we do the hearing, like the devotional hearing, it will purify our senses and our heart. And I think then we can just connect to Krishna. Because yeah, it's above material senses.
Okay. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, let me answer. Anuradha has something to say.
My guess is, Prabhuji, that since we have imperfect senses, using the mind, we have to control the senses, and for using the mind, we have to control the mind first. So that's my guess. And controlling the mind is the more you listen to you do devotional service and listening to God.
Yeah, but I already have imperfect senses, so my mind is also imperfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to be devil's advocate, just for you all to get anxious to hear. So let me answer, and then I will come to one question posted in the chat. So yes, we have established that we have imperfect senses. So in Shabda Praman, means the Shabda process or the hearing process, we receive knowledge from our senses, means our ears. So how is it any superior? We already have imperfect senses. The answer is the essential difference is not on how we get the knowledge, means not the knowledge coming through ears, that's not important. But where the knowledge is coming from is important, meaning the Shabda Praman, the source of the knowledge, is Krishna and Parampara. So the purity and potency of the knowledge is the reliability of the knowledge. It is not that the imperfection of our senses is the source of knowledge. And understand this with an example. Say in a factory, we get a new equipment. And I'm starting to use the new equipment. It's a big machine, something. I'm starting to use the equipment without referring to the manual. And the alternative is I will use the machine with referring to the manual. Now, whether I'm using the machine without referring to the manual or with reference to the manual, I am using the same senses, my body, my legs, hands, and whatever the equipment requires. The difference is, without using the manual, I am using my own speculation. I may destroy the machine or I may get hurt because I am not using it properly. Versus if I use the equipment with the manual, meaning taking knowledge from authoritative sources, the manual in the example of a machine, then I will use the machine properly. In both scenarios, I am still using my imperfect senses, but by using the manual, I am using my senses properly. Similarly, in Shabda Praman, means the hearing process, we are guiding our senses according to the directions of authorized manual that are coming from Krishna and Parampara. So in Bhagavad Gita introduction, where we had read that we have 4 imperfections, including imperfect senses, the statement before those 4 imperfections says Krishna is a Puruseya, that Krishna is not subject to defect. Therefore, whatever we are hearing from Bhagavad Gita original as it is, or from Srimad Bhagavatam and the scriptures Srila Prabhupada has given us, this is coming directly from Krishna, coming down in parampara. Therefore, there is no imperfections. And then we utilize our imperfect senses properly. That's how our senses get purified, that Samma properly pointed out. Everybody with me? Everybody liked me being devil's advocate?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
In your example, like at this point, I'm not following that. Like even with person who is reading the manual or me who is using the senses, even if the knowledge is perfect, I can still make mistakes.
Yeah, and therefore we don't read Bhagavad Gita by ourselves. We read in devotee association, so we understand. By our own reading, it doesn't help us at all. So I want everyone, and Abhishek Prabhu will read, I want everyone to go to Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, verse number 28. And in the purport, the 4th paragraph, which starts with the words idam viditva. Idam viditva. Abhishek Prabhu, read that 4th paragraph, few lines. 8.28, 4th paragraph, starting with the words idam viditva.
The words idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees.
Right? What did Prabhupada say? Don't try to understand by scholarship or mental speculation. Exactly what Abhishek Prabhu was saying. I may do mistakes even if I read the manual properly. Prabhupada clearly says, you will not understand Bhagavad Gita by your own reading. And how to understand, Prabhupada says, by hearing them in association with devotees. This is our class. This is how we are learning from what Prabhupada has given, from what previous acharyas have explained. So whatever I speak, I'm not speaking anything from my own contaminated mind. I'm only repeating what I have heard from Srila Prabhupada, from my spiritual master, from various acharyas. That's all I'm doing. Yes, I'm clarifying when you have questions, but essentially I am repeating what I have heard. Abhishek Prabhu and everybody.
And then what is the purpose when we read on our own? Because we do read on our own also.
Yeah, your own reading is also required so that you are connecting with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And that's why Malti correctly pointed out 10.10, Dadami Buddhi Yogam. So when you are reading Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is absolute. The words of Krishna and Krishna are identical. So when you are reading, you are associating with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. That is a further help for purification. And Krishna will guide from within when you try to read by yourself also. Abhishek Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu.
So Abhishek Prabhu also posted a question in the chat that whom should we hear on a day-to-day basis? Should we only listen to Srila Prabhupada lectures? So if you have a living spiritual master, or if you are planning to get a living spiritual master, you should listen to that spiritual master's lectures so that you get attached to a spiritual master. If you don't have living spiritual master, and even after you have living spiritual master, we should always listen to Srila Prabhupada. Even the living spiritual master will tell you, listen to Prabhupada lectures. So Prabhupada lectures for sure we should listen to. and your living spiritual master. And then there are so many acharyas in ISKCON. Don't take anybody and everybody. Some of you have been listening to some acharyas' lectures, and some of you have also forwarded me links to their Bhagavatam lectures. Those acharyas are beyond my understanding, and I am teaching you Bhagavad Gita. So be very careful in whom you choose. At the start of Bhagavad Gita, I told all of you to drop everything and only focus on what I am giving you, so that you understand the concepts properly rather than listening to anybody and everybody and then you get confused. So other acharyas are not saying anything incorrect. It's just that some of them have very high language, some of them have very deep understanding that they are speaking, and it goes beyond me. So start with what I am giving you, drop everything else. Of course, if you have your living spiritual master, or if you are planning to take shelter from somebody, then of course you should listen to that living spiritual master, or you may have more than one in mind right now. Listen to them so that you can narrow down. That is understandable. But otherwise, don't go to anybody and everybody because you will be all over. The Bhagavad Gita scripture itself is difficult, and if you try to listen to anybody and everybody, even though they are bona fide spiritual masters, I'm not saying anything wrong against them. I'm just saying my level is neophyte starting level. That's where I am teaching you. So listening to advanced lectures is not going to make you advance. It's probably going to make you confused. So go step by step process. Don't jump. I have said this so many times. Many of you also listen to Srimad Bhagavatam like, oh, this elevated devotee is giving Bhagavatam lecture, I have to go. Are Baba, you don't know basic Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavatam lecture going to do to you? You going to that advanced Bhagavatam lecture without understanding Bhagavad Gita is like explaining calculus to grade 1 math student. Is he going to understand calculus, grade 1 student? Anybody?
No.
Right? So go step by process. I am teaching you at very elementary level. Solidify Bhagavad Gita first, then talk about next scripture. So I've explained that for all of you also. Srimad Bhagavatam is new batch is coming up where all of you will have the option to join if your time permits. But by then solidify Bhagavad Gita. Don't just jump. And even in Bhagavatam, say this advanced devotee is giving Bhagavatam lecture midway, Canto 7, Canto 6. I have not studied earlier cantos. What am I going to understand? Yes, I am going to get some benefit, no denying that. But if you have time, solidify Bhagavad Gita first, then nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, Shishopanishad, then come to Bhagavatam. And then in Bhagavatam also, Srila Prabhupada has clearly said, go in sequence. Read the first 9 cantos first, then Canto 10, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's pastimes will make sense. Abhishek Prabhu, everybody on the same page?
Just one thing. Sometimes, like, if some senior devotees are physically present, then we do want to hear them, right?
Yeah, you do hear if your time permits. I'm not saying don't hear. Yes, you hear. You are getting benefit, not the best benefit, not the 100% benefit is what I'm trying to say. So what you do is if you are short on time and you have to choose one or the other, well, then pick the basic scriptures first. If you have time for both, by all means, go for both. Abhishek Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right, so there's a question in the chat about the purity line, about the reliability of knowledge. So I will repeat. So the purity and the potency of the source is the reliability of knowledge. It's not about our imperfect senses. Rather, it's the source of knowledge coming from Krishna and Parampara. Chandar?
Prabhuji, can you explain a little bit Krishna Parampara?
So go to Bhagavad Gita, introduction, last page. And you will see that Parampara starts from Krishna and then comes down one by one Acharya in disciplic succession all the way to Srila Prabhupada. And this is Parampara. So Prabhupada got the original Bhagavad Gita that was spoken by Krishna, and then Prabhupada translated in English first and then to the various languages. So Parampara means that which is connected all the way to Krishna. Now some other acharyas in the material world or pseudo spiritualist, they will also say, oh, I am following my guru. My guru is following his guru. And if you keep going back to certain number of gurus, it will stop at a certain point. Meaning that hierarchy from my guru to my guru's guru to guru stops at a certain point and it doesn't connect all the way to Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada and the parampara that Srila Prabhupada has in ISKCON is actually connected all the way to Krishna. Therefore, this Brahma Madhav Gauriya Sampradaya is one of the bona fide Sampradaya for spirituality path. Chandar?
Prabhuji, it's on page 30 you are referring to, right? 1 to 32.
Yeah. So page number will differ, but you are on the right place.
Yeah, and I have a question. It's going through these masters, which is listed here. We might not have these masters in our life.
And your question is?
My question is when you are saying go to Acharya or associate with the devotees to learn this Bhagavad Gita, like none of them are listed here.
Yeah, so Prabhupada has set up the parampara in ISKCON. So in the 32 count, the disciplic succession, it's there till Srila Prabhupada. And all the spiritual masters under Srila Prabhupada, which are in bona fide spiritual masters in ISKCON, they are following Srila Prabhupada, what Srila Prabhupada has given us. So we don't need to go to previous acharyas. Srila Prabhupada has given us in his books what we need. And we just follow the instructions that Srila Prabhupada has left for us. Srila Prabhupada has not given us anything by himself. Srila Prabhupada only translated. Srila Prabhupada did not write anything from scratch. Srila Prabhupada translated what he got in disciplic succession, which has started from Krishna to Brahma to Narada to Vyasa and all the way to Srila Prabhupada and to the acharyas, the bona fide spiritual masters that are under Srila Prabhupada. They are all part of this same parampara, this disciplic succession connected all the way to Krishna. Chandar?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for clearing this up. I have a little concern here.
Yeah.
How about if we, I just follow book as a master itself, what it's saying in word by word?
Yeah, so we already read in 8.28, it's not possible for any one of us to understand Bhagavad Gita by ourselves. Plus, understand the practice of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has philosophy. The practice of Bhagavad Gita is in nectar of instruction and nectar of devotion. So some devotees present here virtually among us simultaneously also attend the nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, and other scriptures classes. In nectar of devotion, there are 64 items of devotional services given. The first 5 items of the 64 items are essentially focused on spiritual master, where it says that one should get initiated from a bona fide spiritual master and follow his instructions and serve the spiritual master. That's how you will be able to understand. Plus, we also read in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, it is not about us trying to do something by ourselves. No, Krishna has clearly given an instruction in 4.34 that the transcendental knowledge that Krishna has described in chapter 4 and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, go to a spiritual master and get the knowledge from the spiritual master. Therefore, Krishna says in 4.34, Tadvidi paripatena, pariprashnena sevaya, upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. So he says, upadekshanti te jnanam, that spiritual master will impart the knowledge onto you. How? When you do the previous steps. Tadvidi paripatena, pariprashnena sevaya. Essentially, it's paripatena, pariprashnena, and sevaya, that you inquire, you do service. That's how spiritual master will impart the knowledge onto you. By ourselves, it's not possible to understand Bhagavad Gita. Chandar?
Thank you, Prabhuji. So the book cannot be our spiritual master, in other words.
The book is Krishna himself, but your point that you want to follow the book by yourself, that is not possible.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It
clarifies. Yeah, the book is Krishna himself, is Gopinath himself. So treat the Bhagavad Gita book very nicely. He's Gopinath himself.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. We have essentially covered one verse today. We are getting very close to end of the class today. Now, we'll go back to 7.1. In the purport, Prabhupada also explains what we have discussed about 2.52 verse earlier. That 2.52 says that when intelligence passes through the dense forest of delusion, one will be indifferent to all that is heard as well as all that one will hear. Meaning, we will not get distracted to this and that pleasure of the material world. Then this is the sign of advancement in Krishna consciousness. If one gets affected by what one is hearing about material things, then one is not yet at transcendental level. The point is that, yes, even our ears can actually mislead us from what we are hearing. So the Shabda Praman, meaning the hearing process, is not reliable on itself just because I am hearing. But the hearing process becomes reliable because we are hearing knowledge coming from authorized sources that have started from Krishna himself and coming down through the parampara, which we just discussed, the disciplic succession, the parampara. Then this is a safe way of hearing. The authority of hearing is the Shabda Praman, is not dependent on the means. Means is the purity is not dependent on my imperfect sense of hearing. Rather, it's the authority and the potency coming from Krishna and the acharyas and disciplic succession is based on the original source from which we are hearing. That makes the hearing of the scriptures properly, which will lead to destroying our doubts about Krishna, which will lead us to doing devotional service, which will lead to taking shelter of Krishna, and then will lead to Maya Sakta Manapartha, that our mind will get attached to Krishna. We'll go to 7.1 purport and we will read towards the end of the purport. Yeah. Malti, you want to read? You can read where the last few lines where it starts when these impurities are wiped out.
Seven 7.1, right?
7.1 purport towards the last few lines.
Last few. I can't find the last few lines. Is it therefore only by hearing from Krishna from there?
You can read from there.
Yeah.
Well,
Therefore,
yeah, just read 2 lines above, and from there you can. Thus, Bhakti Yoga serves.
okay. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the heart of material affection and enable one to come at once to the stage of asamshya samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna.
The last line, very important. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Chandar, does that further help you, rest of you?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Malti, you had a question, but you unmute.
No, Prabhuji, just wanted to be.
Everybody on the same page? All right. We have essentially covered one verse, so we have a few more minutes. Let's. Okay, I will not cover that verse because it's also heavy discussion. Okay, let me give you homework, and I will repeat what I mentioned at the start. So, homework is, and somebody will repeat. Very important homework. Have undivided attention. So, homework is from chapter 7, verses 8, 9, and 10. You either explain those verses as a picture or a video, or you can just describe in your own words. You can be creative, as creative you can. Devotees from all past batches have been very creative in their drawings, have been very creative in creating videos for these verses, or some have just described. If you don't have that drawing ability, you can just describe in your own words. So I'm not going to set up the Google link for this because you will be making a drawing or a video or just describing in your own words. So you will send your response to me by end of day Wednesday so I can assemble everybody's response and I will show at the following class. Everybody understands? Very, very important and mandatory homework for everyone to do. Everybody crystal clear or wants clarification? Only Chandar has thumbs up.
Yes, Prabhuji, I understand.
Prabhuji, is it verse 8, 9 to 10, or is it text?
Yeah. So chapter 7, verses 8, 9, and 10.
Okay. Okay, got it. Sorry.
You can either describe these points as a picture or create a video. Be creative. Or you can just describe.
Okay.
Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, and you please send it to me by Wednesday, end of day, so that I can assemble everybody's response. And I will post Srila Prabhupada's lecture in the chat. Everybody should listen to it. It's a spectacular lecture. Obviously, it's on 7.1, which is titled Increase Your Attachment to the Lord. How many of you want to increase your attachment to the Lord?
I do.
Prabhuji, I do.
I do, Prabhuji.
Very good.
I do, Prabhuji.
Chandar has a question.
No, Prabhuji, I mean increase the attachment.
Okay. Diksha has a question.
Prabhuji, I raise my hand to
Okay.
agree with it.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So I will repeat what I said at the start. So the important announcements. So for upcoming practical discussion in chapter 7, I request all of you to provide me with a unique place where you have been. Either you are born in a unique place or you have traveled. Some of you already responded. Thank you. So I'm looking for a unique place. If you are in common places like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, or in Nepal, Kathmandu, these are common places. It doesn't serve purpose. I'm looking for a unique place, and you will realize why I'm looking for the unique place when we have this practical discussion at our upcoming class in chapter 7. So I also gave you the mandatory spiritual endeavor. Everybody please submit by end of day Wednesday. If you need more time, by all means connect with me and we can discuss that. I also explained at the start that next Sunday, 11th of May at batch 5, 9:30 a.m. classes, there's a very important discussion about offenses to avoid. Everybody should try to attend this additional class on the following Sunday. Even if you have attended it earlier, you please attend again. And those of you who have not attended, those of you who are in the catch-up session, so I did name few names and I will repeat the names again. It definitely is very important for you to attend. So I have covered in this batch, I have covered this offenses to avoid class before chapter 2 started. But because you joined partway through, so you have missed this very important class. Essentially, your spirituality advancement, majority of your spiritual advancement will happen by not doing offenses. So I will name names, Annapurni, Anuradha, then Chandar, Deepa. Deepa might have attended, I'm not sure.
No, Prabhu, I never did.
Okay, very good. So please attend 2 classes next Sunday. Then Manish Bhatia, Monica, Mohit, Pratyush Prabhu, Father, Parth Prabhu, then Rash, I don't see Rashi here, then Janisha. All the names I gave, you have definitely missed this, very important because you joined partway through. No worries. Therefore, this class happens again and again. It's such an important class that we need to ensure we don't do offenses at all. There are many devotees from other batches where this discussion has happened about offenses, that how important it is to not do offenses. Therefore, I request everyone to attend, even if you have attended, and those names I said, by all means, you should definitely attend because you didn't attend when the class happened for the first time in this batch. Okay, I think I have covered everything. And yes, for the Zoom call, I request all of you, it's only 2 or 3 of you who join with either the iPad name or the iPhone name. At step 2, when you log in via Zoom call, I request you to change your name. This change only happens one time. And then going forward, it will always appear as your name. So you log in as iPhone or iPad. When you join as iPhone or iPad, on the waiting list, I see iPhone, but I don't know who's iPhone. I don't know who's iPad. So I request you to change, because many times there are incorrect people trying to join the Zoom call and they try to hack and do all sorts of nonsense. So going forward, if you join with iPad and iPhone or whatever incorrect names, I will not let you in the Zoom call. So far, I have been lenient, but now you should change as well. All right, Abhishek Prabhu, you have a question. By all means, please ask. We have a few minutes left.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in chapter 4, around verse 39, Krishna is talking about faith. And he says that those who, like, it's kind of a it's a requirement for understanding transcendental knowledge. We also hear this analogy of medicine, that whether it's medicine you know or not, it is still going to work if we take it. So, but he says that for the faithless, it's not going to work. So, like, it's a little confusing to me, those two things.
Yeah. So if faithless people hear about Krishna, they will get the benefit provided they don't have envy. So we'll discuss this point in 9.2 about the difference between envy and devotion. Devotion means I rejoice in Krishna's glorification. Versus envy means when I hear Krishna's glorification, I become envy of Krishna, that how come Krishna is glorified. So why someone becomes envy is because they don't have faith. So faith plays a very important role in the purification process and advancing in Krishna consciousness, that you have to take it for the fact that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, at least in theory, or if you don't believe it. But if you say, no, Krishna is not Supreme Personality of Godhead, well, then you are not going to get elevated. You are just going to become more envious. Your anartha will grow. So your analogy from the material point of view is okay, is slightly separate. Now, even in this scenario, somebody who is faithless, if he simply hears Krishna Katha, he's going to get the benefit. But if he becomes envious more by hearing Krishna Katha, then his anartha will grow. Right? So it depends on what you do with the hearing. Abhishek Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was clear. Thank you so much.
All right. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? All right. We are just about at 11:45, just before 11:45 a.m. here in Toronto time. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna.